There's just something very gratifying about owning a piece of land, hearing the leaves crunch under your feet, knowing that it's yours. However, it can be taken and sold right out from under you. You see, there's more to owning a piece of land, much more. Land just gives you a sense of pride, a sense of ownership. It's yours and no one can take it away, so you think. Now look, it's your land. This is your land. You bought, you own it. But what if you don't take the proper steps to protect it? You'll lose it just like that. Now there are a couple of things I'm referring to. The one is the obvious, taxes. If you don't pay, you don't stay. And look, it's pretty simple. How hard can it be? Pay your taxes, keep the property. No big deal. But did you know there are literally thousands of people every year that get their land sold out from under them and they don't even know it? You see, thousands of people own property all across the country and they don't physically live on the land that they own. You see, when you purchase a piece of property and you close on it, the closing attorney title company is going to get your address, your home address, and that address is going to be recorded, and the tax assessor is supposed to be notified and told where to send the tax information to. And look, I get it, people move. So if they send a forwarding address and you move a year or two later, that forwarding address that you register with the post office, it only lasts for so long. And as a result, it gets kicked back to the post office where it then gets disposed of. So what gets disposed of? It's this little bitty tax card that your county sends you that says, hey, just a reminder, your taxes are due on the property. But if you don't get it, and it just kind of slips past your memory, that ain't good. Look, at the end of the day, it's up to us, property owners, to be responsible for paying our taxes, to keep up with that. But believe it or not, people can forget to pay the property taxes. As a result, it can be a nightmare. Now look, it sounds pretty crazy, I know, but yes, they can take your property if you do not pay your taxes for something as simple as $100 tax bill. And you're probably thinking, how do they do that if I still have a loan on the property? The answer, it's surprising. You see, it's so important to know that all tax liens, city, county, federal, they supersede any lien on a property. So if you could be current on your mortgage, current on your payment, but if you don't pay your taxes, they can take your property. Now look, that sounds crazy, I know, but it's the law. It is what it is. And so look, this is why when mortgage lenders, I'm gonna have a seat here if y'all don't mind. This is why when mortgage lenders, banks, when they give you a loan on a property, they require you to have an escrow account. Sometimes they insist on it. And the reason being is they don't want you to forget to pay your taxes. It's pretty simple. If you're responsible for paying your taxes and you forget to pay the taxes, the city, the county, they can auction off your property. They can sell your property for the delinquent tax amount. Now, there is some good news. And the good news is this, is that even though they sell your property for the delinquent tax amount, you could still get the property back. Now, it may not be all that easy for you, and it certainly will cost you a whole lot more money than just your tax bill. You see, when they sell the property, they sell it to the highest bidder, and the value of the property is worth way more than what's owed in taxes. Now listen, don't miss that. You can redeem the property. You may be behind 2 to 3 years in taxes, but it's going to cost you what they bought the property for. In other words, what they paid not only on the taxes that were owed, but what they personally paid for the property. So if there's a $300 to $400 tax delinquency, they'll start it at that amount. But if they pay $5,000 for the property, that's what you have to pay back, and then some. Now, what you're gonna have to pay back, quite simply, is a penalty. And typically it can run between 5 and 10%. So you gotta pay interest to the person that bought the property from the tax sale, plus a penalty to the county. Now, the worst part about that is you may have a piece of property that is worth $15,000 that's paid for. that you only needed to pay $600 or $700, $800 in taxes over the period of a couple of years. You live in another state, you just forgot to pay your taxes. Now, I mentioned there's a couple of ways to lose your property. The other is from injury, but not to you. You see, if somebody comes on your property, of course they're trespassing. But if they get hurt, injured, even die on your property, you can be sued. But hey, don't blame me. I'm not an attorney. You won't see me running any of those crazy ads on TV. But yes, you can be sued, lose your land, and a lot more than that. But look, this is how you prevent that. Quite simply, fence in the property. Fence in your property. Now, you may be thinking, how in the world am I going to fence in 10 acres of land? And look, I get it. That's a lot of money, fencing in 10 acres of land. But at the very minimum, put up no trespassing signs. Not just one, but 2 or 3 or 4, all around the property, all 4 corners, everywhere. So look, you want to make sure that you put signs up that say no trespassing. And not only do they say no trespassing, but they will basically say that they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. You see, if somebody drowns in your pond, you could be sued. But look, there's one more added protection you can do on your property, and it's not that expensive. And it doesn't matter if you live on the property or you're 3 to 7 states away. It does not matter. What I'm talking about is an insurance policy. You'll want to get an insurance policy on your property. So if someone crosses the line, they cross the fence onto your property, they drowned in your pond, you're still covered with an insurance policy. So no one's going to sue you and force you to have to sell your property to pay some frivolous lawsuit.